And good evening, East Alabama and West Georgia. Dr. Don in here with you on your Monday evening, January 15th, 2024, as we continue to watch winter weather across East Alabama and West Georgia. Well, not across East Alabama and West Georgia just yet. Across North Alabama, Northwest Alabama, up into Tennessee and Mississippi has been an issue all day long today. Actually started yesterday. Been a problem up there, and the cold air is just really struggling to make it down into East Alabama and West Georgia. But the guys and gals at the National Weather Service tell us that that is going to happen. It is going to happen during the overnight tonight, and there will be some problems. Don't think it's going to be widespread for East Alabama and West Georgia. I think it'll be spotty at best. I think you're going to probably have to be north of I-20 to really run into any significant issues. But now understand, there is zero skill to forecasting this type of weather in the southeastern United States. So just be prepared for just about anything other than snow. We're not going to see snow. This is not going to be a snowstorm. Kiddos are not going to get to go outside and play in the snow and make snowmen and all that kind of stuff. That's not going to happen. But as far as the icing is concerned, we're just going to have to kind of ride this thing and see as it takes place what really does happen. You know, it doesn't take a whole lot of ice to cause a problem in the southeast, and we're seeing that up in North Alabama at this hour. Let me see if I can switch over to Alabama's camera system and show you Athens, Alabama at this hour. That is a frozen tundra up in Athens, Alabama. That's right on the Alabama-Tennessee state line. You can see traffic out there on the roadways, but there's not a whole lot. And we know that I-65 has been closed somewhere around the 300-mile marker on I-65, and that's going to be north of Coleman. Both directions, north and south. I-65 closed. Numerous accidents due to icing that's taken place up there on I-65. So you know if the interstate is down, all of the local roadways are in trouble as well. Also, I just saw a post on social media where Winston County Emergency Management, that's up in North Alabama, Winston County has just issued a statement that all county roads are impassable due to ice that's covering the roadway up there. So, but again, understand that's way up there in North Alabama, Northwest Alabama, where they've had snow, sleet, and freezing rain ongoing now for well over 24 hours. And we haven't seen anything across East Alabama and West Georgia. And the reason we have not seen anything is because of the current temperatures. Just before we went on air, I pulled this off of the model soundings, and look at that, would you? It is 16 degrees up there in Muscle Shoals, Alabama. It is 61 degrees in Andalusia. Now, that is a departure right there. Earlier today, it was like 14 degrees up in extreme northwest Alabama and 71 degrees in South Alabama. That is a huge temperature departure, but it's there. And you can see that the freezing temperatures pretty much are just north of Tuscaloosa, just north of Birmingham, just north of Gadsden. We have 37 in Tuscaloosa right now, 35 in Birmingham, and 38 in Gadsden. And it may be a degree or two cooler than that now. But you can see that blue line stretching across Alabama is going to slowly sink to the south and to the southeast, and that is going to bring that cold air in as we go throughout the evening tonight. One thing I learned during the great Snowmageddon blizzard of 1993, and this has absolutely no comparison whatsoever, not even on the same bookshelf, much less the same book. But the one thing I did learn, you remember when we went to bed that night, they were calling for this massive snowstorm, and it was like 52 degrees outside. And we're like, everybody's going, they've lost their mind. There's no way this is going to happen. It's just way too warm. Well, that's the way it's been across East Alabama and West Georgia all day today. It has just felt too warm for any type of frozen precipitation whatsoever. But the cold air is coming. That is going to happen. When you wake up tomorrow morning, it's going to feel much different. And then tomorrow night into Wednesday morning, it's just going to be downright ugly. That's the only way I know how to put it. It is going to be very, very cold. Wind chill factors will be down in the single digits. So when you get up on Wednesday morning. So cold air is coming. There is still moisture out there. So it doesn't take much. We do now have winter weather advisories, which covers a good chunk of Alabama. I'm talking north to south Alabama. Let me get back over there, and I'll show you those alerts. Yeah, that's not. There we go. That's what we're looking for. Okay, so the pink is a winter storm warning, and that's the northern tier of counties across Alabama. Probably about the northern quarter of the state of Alabama is covered under a winter storm warning. And then in the pink or the purple is a winter weather advisory, and they have now added all of our East Alabama counties, including Chambers, Lee, Tallapoosa, Talladega, Clay, Randolph, even over toward Elmore. Central Alabama's covered. The I-20 corridor is covered up there, Cleburne and Calhoun up into Cherokee, all under a winter weather advisory. And we also have a hard freeze warning, which will go into effect tomorrow night for East Alabama. And then in Georgia, the National Weather Service has extended the winter weather watch all the way down to about the I-20 corridor, and they have just issued a wind chill advisory for our West Georgia counties, and that will be for tomorrow night into Wednesday morning. So bitterly cold air on the way. Could there be some scattered icing problems here and there? There certainly could be. Will it be a widespread, serious icing problem across East Alabama and West Georgia? I don't think so. But again, this is one of those setups where we're just going to have to kind of watch this as it happens and see how this works out. So that's kind of where we're at this evening in the weather department. Let me go back up and take a look at some of the graphics from the National Weather Service. Here's the latest from the National Weather Service out of Birmingham. This is the impact areas across the state, and you'll see up there in the blue, basically from Birmingham north, we're talking about freezing rain and sleet. Difficult travel conditions are certainly possible. Sporadic power outages could take place. And then in the light blue, which is basically Tuscaloosa, Birmingham, Gadsden south, freezing rain and sleet is possible. Icy spots on roads, not widespread, especially bridges and overpasses. So if you have plans to travel back into Birmingham tomorrow or over toward Atlanta tomorrow, I just wouldn't do it. I would change my plans. Multiple school closings coming in now ever since about an hour or so ago, maybe 2 hours ago, they lowered the winter weather advisory in Georgia down to include the Atlanta metro. When they did that, all the schools started closing that had not already announced. Now, the Alabama schools pretty much had already announced, and we know for a fact that in Randolph County, county and city schools are closed tomorrow. The county won't go back until Thursday. I'm not sure about Roanoke. I know Roanoke's closed tomorrow. If somebody want to post in the chat room and confirm that, would appreciate it. And then all the schools up here in North Georgia went ahead and pulled the trigger, too. And I don't blame them. I mean, I don't look for a major problem, but you can't put buses on roadways if you're under a winter weather advisory. That's just a liability, and I can't blame them for doing that. I think the need to close, though, will be greater on Wednesday than it will be tomorrow. Roanoke goes back Thursday as well. Thank you. I think the need to close will be greater on Wednesday versus tomorrow because of the cold. It is just going to be unbearable out there on Wednesday morning. And I know that's hard to believe because we've been relatively warm all day today. It just doesn't seem like there's winter weather knocking on the door, but I promise you it is. Let's see. All right, let's go look at a couple of other things here. One thing I do want to show you is a product that the Storm Prediction Center puts out. This is called the Winter Storm Severity Index, or the WSSI. And this kind of shows the areas where kind of backs up what the National Weather Service in Birmingham just showed us on the impacts. And you can see that those areas in yellow are the areas where the greatest impact will take place. And that's down there around Jackson, Mississippi, and then a couple of little spots across West Alabama, maybe even down there across Central Alabama, across Autauga County. And then you see the yellow up there just north of I-20 up through Gadsden, all the way up to Lookout Mountain, and then, of course, across the northern tier of counties there in Alabama. And Tennessee's just been hammered. Been snowing and icing up there. Had snow last night, ice today, and it's turning back over to snow now. So that's what the computer thinks is going to happen. But, folks, again, this is just a tool to give you an idea. You know, that yellow, that little bitty streak of yellow right there could very well set up over here in Clay and Randolph County. I mean, placement is not exact on these things, and there's very little science to this as well in the southeast. Let me go back and show you the timing on all of this. Pretty much now through 6 a.m. across central Alabama, and then after midnight through about 6 or 7 a.m. across East Alabama and West Georgia. So you're not going to see any frozen precipitation before midnight. It's probably going to be well after midnight before you see anything. Probably more like about 3 a.m. before you start to see any, if you see any at all. And understand, you may see nothing but rain with occasional sleet pellet mixed in. The least likely thing you'll see is snow. This is just not a snow setup. It's too warm up in the upper layers of the atmosphere. This low pressure that's moving across the southeast is coming up off the Gulf of Mexico, and it's going to come too close to East Alabama and West Georgia. It's bringing warmer air with it. And so that's has brought the temperature up in the upper levels of the atmosphere up pretty high. And then we have this cold air coming down from the north. That's why it's had such a hard time getting in here. That low has just kind of been keeping it at bay. But as the best moisture starts to pull away, then that cold air will come rushing in behind it, and there will be just enough overrun moisture left where we'll most likely see rain in most locations, and that rain will freeze on contact with the surface. There could be some ice pellets or grapple or sleet mixed in with it. Please don't post it's hailing at my house. That will drive me insane. You don't have hail this time of year. It is either sleet or grapple. Grapple is an ice pellet. It's somewhere between a snowflake and a sleet pellet. It's not exactly either or. So that's what you can expect across the area. Will there be travel problems tomorrow morning when you get up? Yeah, there could be. Will it be widespread across East Alabama and West Georgia? I doubt it. I doubt it. So let's look at another output now. This, again, is a computer model, and this is the best ice output I think I've seen so far. And if this were to verify, then there are going to be some significant travel problems, probably in the Birmingham metro area. Not so sure about East Alabama and West Georgia. But look at there. Look at that, 13 hundredths of an inch of ice up there in Gadsden. That will cause all kinds of problems. Not sure that it brings down a lot of trees. It will bring down some. Maybe some ice load on some power lines with some gusty winds could be a problem up there, too, if this verifies. And then you look at that way down there in South Alabama. I mean, we're talking Fairhope, Daphne. We're talking maybe all the way down to Gulf Shores, back over toward Dolphin Island. Could see a light glazing of ice tomorrow morning. That's just insane. Better icing up there along the I-10 corridor, back up toward Andalusia, and maybe even back over toward Enterprise, up toward Troy. You could see some icing in the morning. Same thing for the Columbus, Phoenix City area. If this particular model is correct. And you see right there across Randolph, down into Chambers and Tallapoosa, kind of nothing much going on right there according to this model. We'll see. We will see. So let's look at the temperatures tomorrow morning. Let me back up. These are the temperatures again right now. You can pick your location out on the map. And then this is what the temperatures are going to be when you get up tomorrow morning. Big difference, huh? We're talking 21 in Birmingham, 31 in Montgomery, probably right at freezing across East Alabama and West Georgia when you get up tomorrow morning. And then the temperature's just not going to go too many places tomorrow. It's going to be cold. And then as we get in tomorrow afternoon, they're going to drop even more. Wind is going to kick up, and then we're in for a frozen night across East Alabama and West Georgia Tuesday night into the Wednesday. All right, let's go back up here to our Weather Talk live chat room and see what's going on in there. Good evening, Lake Martin. Thank you for watching us. If Gulf Shores gets snow and Woodland doesn't, I'm going to be so mad. Gulf Shores is not going to get snow. They may get some freezing rain. And don't look for snow in Woodland. This is not a snowmaker. If you see anything at all in Woodland, it's probably going to be freezing rain. You could see a sleet pellet mixed in, and you could see a snowflake, but you can probably count them. They're going to be so few snowflakes. This is just not going to be a snowmaker for us. Meriwether County in the house. Hey, Dennis. Phoenix City, yes. Again, I don't expect major problems in Phoenix City, but you could see some icing down there. Notasulga is in the house. Fredonia, Alabama. Carrollton. Hey, Brandy. Teresa's watching us in Roanoke. Will the roads in Randolph be icy tomorrow? There could be some spotted areas of ice on the roadways in Randolph County tomorrow, probably up in the higher elevations like Gray Hill, north of Tin Shop, up into the Woodland area, Graham. It's possible there could be some scattered problems on the roads, but I don't anticipate widespread problems. Wait a minute, I saw somebody had a question. Let me see if I can go back. Do I suggest schools close in Phoenix City or Columbus? I can't make that call. That is certainly the school's decision to make. You're not under a winter weather advisory. I'll tell you, a lot of schools up here in North Georgia closed because the National Weather Service issued a winter weather advisory for their jurisdiction. I don't think you have a choice if that happens. But to my knowledge, Columbus, Phoenix City is, Phoenix City is right there on the river, and I know that your county is, but you could throw a rock and hit the location where there's not a winter weather advisory. So I think whatever Columbus does is probably what Phoenix City should do. And Columbus is not under a winter weather advisory. So. Weegufka and Sylacauga. Let's go take a look at the radar right quick. Okay. Radar. Hello, radar. All right, y'all bear with me. It was all working just fine moments ago. Okay, it's all there it is. There it comes. Okay, let me show you what's going on here. Let me get the mouse back down here on the correct monitor. So there you go. That's what's happening at this hour. You've got freezing rain and maybe a little snow taking place up there at Chattanooga, and that stretches all the way back down to Huntsville. Some freezing rain taking place right there in Huntsville at 18 degrees. See, the cold air is very shallow at the surface. You get up, I don't know, 2,000, 3,000 feet, and you're well above freezing up there. That's why it's falling as liquid, and then when it hits the surface, it freezes instantly. And that's why we were seeing a lot of travel problems up there in North Alabama. Again, I-65, as of about an hour and a half ago, was closed just north of Coleman, where it's 21 degrees and freezing rain taking place at this hour. Freezing rain stretches all the way back down to Winfield out there on I-22. Lots of problems on that interstate, too, that runs from Birmingham to Memphis. And then the frozen precipitation moves on back into Columbus, Mississippi, and all the way down to Jackson, Mississippi. You can see it's not very wide. There's not a tremendous amount of precipitation taking place here. But again, it just doesn't take very much for there to be a problem in the southeastern United States. Everywhere you see the orange and the pinks, that's where we've got sleet and freezing rain taking place. This green over here is nothing but rain. And then the white and the blue is where we see snow taking place at this hour. So what's going to happen is this entire line is going to continue moving off to the east and southeast, kind of similar to that line that I just put on the screen for you as the night goes along. Now, the individual bands of precipitation are moving off to the northeast, but the line itself is slowly moving on off down to the east and to the southeast. So that's what you can expect. And, we're probably talking a couple of 2-3 hours here of precipitation. Then after that moves through, we could have some drizzle or some fog, and that could freeze as well. Pretty wicked. Freezing fog is pretty wicked. I have seen it a time or two, but that could happen as well. I-20, I-59, I have not seen any reports of any problems we're only seeing just a little bit of precipitation down there around Meridian right now. That's just moved in. So I don't know of any problems on I-20 or I-59 down to Hattiesburg. Going to Nashville from Roanoke on, Saturday? Yeah, I think you'll be okay. We've got another event coming Friday night. It's going to be a close call Thursday night and Friday night. I don't think we see much in the way of precipitation. There could be some frozen precipitation up in Nashville, though. It's going to be bitterly cold up there next Saturday. More cold air is coming our way. Friday night into Saturday, it's going to be very similar to what we're going to see tomorrow night into Wednesday. Foster's Crossroads. Hey, Jerome Cofield. Do I think the power will stay on during this? Tracy, bring me my crystal ball. Okay. Thank you. Let me look in that thing. I don't think there's a good chance you're going to lose power because I don't think we're going to get enough precipitation. I don't think we're going to have enough ice. But it doesn't take a whole lot. So it's possible. I'd be prepared just in case it does. I don't think we're looking at widespread power outages. I don't think we're looking at widespread bad road conditions. I think we're looking at a novelty brush with old man winter is what I think we're looking at. And I tell you that, and at your house, I may be 100% correct. Across town at your neighbor's house, I may be 100% wrong. It's just the way it is here in the South. This is extremely hard to predict. We do the best we can. But this is one of those where you're just going to have to look out the window and see what's happening. Widespread power outages, no. I don't anticipate that. Carrollton, Whitesburg. I mean, you're closer up there to I-20. You're closer, but you got to go north of Birmingham, back to the northwest to get into that really good frozen tundra stuff. I doubt it, Carrollton, but we'll see. Haralson County 911. Hey, Haralson County 911. I would happen to be the 911 division chief for White County 911 up in the mountains. Good to have you guys in here, Dawn. Thank you. Let's see. Auburn ? Yeah. I mean, they've lowered the winter weather advisory all the way down to Coverly County in the greater Auburn area, but I don't think we're looking at a whole lot down there either. It's going to be brutally cold. It's going to be brutally cold everywhere. And you could have a little freezing rain here and there, but I don't think it's going to be a major deal for Auburn. Mark, I don't currently have a crystal ball, but I promise you, before we do our next live, I'll have one. Producer Tracy is calling the wizard right now to get my crystal ball delivered. The problem may be is getting FedEx or UPS to bring it to my house. On a beautiful, sunny, dry day. They don't like to come to my house because I'm in the middle of nowhere. Thank you, Donna. Hey, Brittany. New York City in the house. Hey, Wayne. You guys up there in New York probably just scratching your head laughing at us Southerners down here, freaking out over what you guys probably would not even put in the weather forecast. But, I mean, that's life in the South. Yeah, Brittany, that's the way Facebook works. That's why I tell everybody, Brittany is saying that she gets notification way after we start our live. That's the way Facebook works. If you don't like us or interact with us just about daily, then we get bumped way down on the notification list on your feed. So that's why you got to do two things every single day. If you don't see something from Dr. Don's Weather, go to Dr. Don's Weather on Facebook and like something. That keeps us active on your feed so that when we do go live, you'll get that notification. The other thing that you've got to do, and by the way, we do a weather forecast every single morning. It's called the Primetime Forecast. So there's something new for you to watch there on our Facebook feed every single day. And then the other thing you need to do is to go over to our YouTube channel. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. It is free, doesn't cost you a dime. And also click that little bell and make sure you're allowing YouTube notifications to come through on your phone. And then that way you will get a push notification when we go live. Doesn't matter. YouTube works totally different from Facebook. Facebook is not conducive for emergency information. You would think by now they would realize how many people depend on Facebook, and they would have changed that by now, but so far it hasn't happened. I hate to have to tell everybody to go away to a different platform to get notified, but you can watch us over there on YouTube as well. I know that there are not as many people with YouTube accounts as there are Facebook, but you ought to consider it. If you don't have a YouTube account, go create one. And then follow us over there. Our resolution is better over on YouTube anyway. And then here's the cool piece. If you subscribe to our YouTube channel and you've got a smart TV, now we're tracking. Now you can go watch us in high resolution on that 75-inch television. It's pretty cool, too. Good way to watch us. Yeah, yes, I would be very concerned about, I would be extremely concerned about animals in this weather. No question there. It is going to be, now tonight's not going to be that bad, but tomorrow and tomorrow night, especially tomorrow night into Wednesday, You cannot leave your animal out in this. You've got to have some way of protecting that animal. It won't work, folks. It's going to be, I know outdoor animals, dogs and cats, can get used to the climate that they're in, but this is going to be extremely unusual tomorrow night into Wednesday and again Thursday night as well. So you got to have a plan. Got to have a plan. Again, tonight, not so much. If they're outdoor pets, tonight, they need a way to be warm tonight. But tomorrow night is going to be deadly cold. Roads should be fine on Wednesday. Hey, Donna, good move. Donna just switched from Facebook to YouTube. I'm not telling you to completely leave Facebook, but watch us over there on YouTube. It just works a whole lot better. What's the time frame for winter weather for Roanoke? If you get any, Jill, big question mark. If you get any, it'll be well after midnight tonight, probably after 3 a.m. Between 3 and about 6 or 7 a.m., I think, is going to be the best time frame for any frozen precipitation across Randolph County and Roanoke in particular. It does, doesn't it, Sonia? I mean, that's the way to go. That is the way. Y'all send me pictures, too. I love to get photographs of folks watching us on the big screen TV. I'll post some of them over on the Dr. Don's weather page. Yeah, the window opens up about 1 a.m., but if you'll look at the precipitation, the temperatures, we're still above freezing in Tuscaloosa. We're still above freezing in Birmingham. We got a ways to go to get you down there to 32 because it's going to be liquid. You're most likely looking at freezing rain here. It could happen anytime after midnight, but I think the better time frame is probably going to be around 3 a.m. Hey, Monica. Road conditions 4 a.m. to 6 a.m. to Daviston. That scrolled up so fast I couldn't see where you were driving from. That's going to be a tough one because there's just there's nobody you can call and say, hey, what's going on out there with the travel? If it's icy in your front yard, in your driveway, turn around and go back in your house and shut it down. That's the only thing I know to tell you. Folks, we ask that you consider supporting us if you can. There are multiple ways to do that. They're scrolling there in the chat room. We depend on your support to be able to continue to do this. This time I don't think we're looking at a big deal, but next time could be a totally different situation. And you guys deserve coverage across East Alabama and West Georgia, and you don't get it from the major television markets out of Birmingham and Atlanta. You don't get a whole lot of radio coverage down there. So we're here to fill that gap. And we are going into our 5th year of coverage, by the way. So I think we're pretty stuck with this, or you're pretty well stuck with me on social media because it's cool we can do this now. But we do depend on your support because there's a lot of cost involved in this. It's more than just turning on a computer and sitting down behind a mic. You wouldn't believe the equipment that has to be purchased and maintained, the internet to get decent internet coverage, and the subscriptions. There are a ton of subscriptions to get all of those different graphics that you just saw. A lot of that stuff comes from subscription-based websites that we have to subscribe to. So there's a ton of cost involved in all of this, and we do have some great folks who are partners with us. But we depend on your help as well. So if you get a chance, just go to one of those links that's scrolling up in the chat room and support us. We've also got, you can buy these coffee cups now. I've also got T-shirts, baseball caps, and a hoodie as well. And the link to our merchant store is also scrolling. And when you purchase those items, you're also supporting Dr. Don's Weather. We get a percentage of those sales. So please consider doing that. I know a lot of folks love to get something when they help folks out and support folks, and I'm cool with that. So that would be a great way. You'll have something in return if you go out there and make a purchase on our merch store. Big screen TV, there's Donna Knowles watching us up on the big screen. Does it make my head look bigger than it really is? I got a pretty big head. Hey, Bobby. Ranburne to Oxford around 7 a.m. Yeah. Better check it before you leave. Again, I don't anticipate major issues there on I-20 or up 431. But yeah, when you get up in the morning, you might want to check. If y'all haven't done so yet, and I don't know, because somebody has to report it in order to for it to show up. But let me go to the graphics page, and then let me go down to there it is. Now, this is a website that you can go check out. And let me just grab the link to it, and I'll put it in the chat room. There you go. And that is road conditions in the state of Alabama. This is maintained by the Alabama Department of Transportation. And you can see where the problems are right now. No question about it. They're north of Birmingham, up there in North Alabama. All those little yellow triangles you see, those are most every one of those are reports of travel problems on roadways. And so you can check out that website. I just put it in the chat room, and you can go over there and check that. Now, here's the problem. And you can't rely on it solely, out there. If you're talking about traveling on a state route early tomorrow morning, it's still not going to be 100%, but it would be better as far as information and it showing up if there really is something going on. Secondary roads, I wouldn't bank on it because somebody has to report these problems to Montgomery, and then they have to put them up on the map. Your major interstates, 65, 85, 20, 59, 22, all the major interstates, yeah, you can trust what you see on this map. But secondary roads, not so much unless it's in a metropolitan area like Tuscaloosa, Birmingham, Anniston, Montgomery, Auburn, Opelika, Mobile, places like that. You can pretty much trust what you see on this map. But out in the rural areas of East Alabama, not so much. So keep that in mind. But that's one option for you that you can check tomorrow morning. You can also listen to local radio if you have a local radio station that's broadcasting that type information. Here's what I suggest you don't do, and I'm saying this because I'm an emergency manager, and I'm in charge of our 911 center up here. And the one thing you don't need to do is call 911 to ask about road conditions. Please don't do that when you get up tomorrow morning. Those guys and gals need to be available to answer those emergency calls. And when, dozens and dozens of people, or hundreds or maybe even thousands of people, if you live in a big area, are constantly calling, asking about the road from here to there, then those dispatchers are not available to take the emergency calls from someone who may be in a life or death situation. So please don't call 911 to ask about road conditions. If you do lose power, please do not call 911 to report your power outage. We can do absolutely nothing for you as far as power is concerned. Now, if there's a tree that's fallen and the road is blocked, and there are no other issues other than the road is blocked, then call the non-emergency number for your local 911. Every 911 center has a non-emergency number, and all you got to do is Google it to find it in your particular location. Keep that number handy, put it in your phone, and call that number when you don't really have an emergency. But now, if that tree falls on a power line, the transformer's on fire, or it hits an automobile and there's injuries, that's an emergency. Then you call 911. Hey, Mayor Donna McKay, I love me some West Bank Wadley, too. Guaranteed. We appreciate you guys supporting us over there as well. Hey, Jameson. It's my pomegranate right there. He can't say pomegranate, so he says pomegranate. So I've nicknamed him pomegranate. Y'all that know me know that I got to have a nickname for everybody. That's just what I do. If only there was snow. Well, we're just getting started. This is our first brush with winter. We've got a long way to go before this winter is over with. And with the type of setup that we got, I think we have a decent chance at seeing some snow before this season is over with. We're in an El Nino year, which means we've got storms coming at us about every 2 to 3 days. And with cold air in place, you have the ingredients. The thing is, we've got to get them here all together at the same time. Chambers County. Yeah, see, so Chambers is now involved in the winter weather advisory as well. They dropped that thing all the way down to the Troy area across the eastern side of the state of Alabama. And I'm telling you, folks, south of I-20, this is a error on the side of caution thing. Because nobody knows exactly what this precipitation is going to do. And it all has everything in the world to do with whether we can get the temperatures down to freezing before it moves through. And the temperatures have really been, the cold air has really been struggling trying to move southeast today. It is moving, but it's been a slow go. So I think it really depends on how cold we go before the precipitation moves through the area. And again, I just don't anticipate much snow at all, if you see any snow at all. And most places probably will not. I think what we're looking at is good old cold liquid rain that may freeze on contact as soon as the temperature drops below 32. Now, understand, it's not going to start happening immediately when it hits 32 because the ground's relatively warm. My goodness, it was almost tropic outside today. So you got to understand, you got to get the temperatures down to around 27, maybe 28, 27, 26 degrees before the rain will freeze on contact. And that is what freezing rain is. It's not a raindrop that's frozen when it hits the ground. It's liquid all the way to the ground. And then when it makes contact with that surface, this below 32 in the upper 20s, it freezes. Thank you, Lisa. For real. And look, thank you. All the folks who went out there and bought a coffee cup last night, I appreciate you. And thank you for going out there and purchasing one of our cups. Now, we did a live on Friday night, and everybody went crazy over the coffee cup, and they wanted me to tell them how they could get it. So we created a merch store on Saturday. And last night, when we went live, everybody went out there and purchased them. And I appreciate that. And so go do it. I mean, the link is scrolling in the chat room. We have a few other items out there as well. And again, that helps support us when you make those purchases. You're welcome, Kaylee. buying up all the bread, milk, and eggs, and don't forget the toilet paper for some frosty weather. Yeah, that's what we do in the South. Hey, it's just what we do. Folks, if you ask a question in the chat room or post something that you think I really do need to see, and I don't address it pretty quick, post it again, because when I get off on my tangents, I cannot. Look, I'm talented, but I can't talk and read and control all this stuff at the same time. I just can't do it. So I may miss your comments. So if you've sent me a message that you think I really do need to see, post it again until I see it. I would call your county commissioner, Chance. For those of you that are just joining us, we're doing some live coverage for you tonight, just talking about the possibilities of some frozen precipitation across East Alabama and West Georgia as we get into the overnight and to tomorrow morning. And here is the impact map from the National Weather Service. And you can see the greatest impacts will be along and north of the I-20, I-59 corridor, basically. We're talking about North Birmingham up to around Gadsden, and then up I-22 toward Hamilton. It's been snowing in some places up there now for well over 24 hours. Snow, freezing rain, sleet. And I think south of the I-20 corridor, we are looking at some spotted issues. I think that when the precipitation moves through, it's going to be coming through at about the time the temperatures hit the 32, 31 degree mark. So I think sleet and freezing rain is going to be the two biggest things you're going to notice in places like Lineville, Ashland, Sylacauga, Roanoke, Wedowee, Wadley, and then down into Dadeville and Alexander City, Lafayette, and even over into West Georgia. We're talking Franklin and LaGrange. I think the biggest thing you're going to notice when this line moves through is going to be sleet and freezing rain. Could there be a snowflake or two mixed in with it? It could be, but it's not going to be anything like what you have been seeing out of North Alabama and Tennessee for the past 24 hours. We're not going to see that kind of weather across East Alabama and West Georgia. Now, could there be some travel issues? There could be, but probably not. That's why we're going to have to kind of play this thing by ear as it unfolds across East Alabama and West Georgia. Weather Service is not 100% confident what's going to happen either. That's why they've gone ahead and issued the winter weather advisory just as a course of least regret. They're putting you on notice to take personal responsibility and look at what's happening outside before you get in that automobile and take off down the road. You know, if you go out your front door and the front steps are covered in ice, that's a red flag. Don't get in the automobile. You know, if you're going to be traveling some distance, then go to the Alabama Department of Transportation website and see if there are any road closures or road conditions available for you there. You can watch your social media. Let's say you're traveling from one town to another. Guess what every single town has on Facebook these days? They have a community group. So if you know tomorrow you're going to be traveling from, I don't know, pick a spot. You know you're going to be traveling from Roanoke to Montgomery. Of course, you'd see plenty of weather information about Montgomery. Let's pick a better place. Let's say you're traveling from Roanoke to Millbrook, right outside of Montgomery. All right, so right now I would go ahead and go to Facebook groups and search for Millbrook, Alabama, and see if they don't have a community group. They do, follow it. And then guess what you're going to find on that group first thing tomorrow morning? You're going to find a ton of information. Every county has an emergency management agency. So if you're going to Millbrook, also after you follow the Millbrook community page, search for Elmore County Emergency Management. Follow their page. Guess what you're going to find on their site first thing tomorrow morning? That's right, weather information, road conditions. So those are some good ideas if you're going to be traveling any distance in the morning. Use social media to your benefit. It is, for all of the issues it brings, there are some good things about it. And the fact that we can get our weather, news, and information in real time is the positive side of social media. So just some ideas for you on how you can find out what road conditions are first thing in the morning, because I'm going to be quite honest with you, nobody knows exactly what's going to happen. And if you're watching someone on television, radio, any type of media that's telling you that this is exactly what's going to happen in your front yard, you need to stop watching them, because they're not telling you the truth. Overall, do I think we have a major issue coming here? No, I do not. And I don't think there's going to be a whole lot to it. But there could be some surprises. There always is. So be prepared for those possible surprises. So anyway, here's the graphic showing you that the greatest impact will be north of Birmingham, north of Gadsden, and then south of the I-20 corridor. We're talking about maybe a little freezing rain here and there, some sleet mixed in with it, some icy spots on the roads, especially on bridges and overpasses. Notice the Weather Service does not even mention the word snow. Look, it's right there on the screen. They don't mention the word snow because we don't anticipate snow. We think this is going to be a sleet and freezing rain event as it comes through East Alabama and the West Georgia. Now, let me show you what you're going to wake up to in the morning. Not that bad. I mean, we've certainly already been colder than this in East Alabama and West Georgia this year. But you're probably looking at about between 30 and 32 degrees at 6 a.m. tomorrow morning across most of the area. Now, the further west and northwest you go, the colder it's going to be. So while it could be 32 in Roanoke, it could be 26 over in Ashland. A very tight gradient between the warmer air and the colder air. I mean, you could, if you're driving in a car and you're driving into this front, you could just about watch the thermometer. If you're driving at 60 miles per hour, you could probably watch the thermometer drop a degree about every 3 or 4 seconds. That's how tight the gradient is on this. And then as we go throughout the day, temperatures will moderate a little bit. But, boy, look out tomorrow afternoon. Wind's going to kick up out of the northwest. Temperatures are going to nosedive. We're going to head for the mid-teens, maybe low teens tomorrow night. And that with that wind out of the northwest, wind chill factors will be approaching 0. That's what it's going to feel like outside. And we have a hard freeze warning that will kick in tomorrow night as well. We have a wind-chilled advisory for tomorrow and tomorrow night, already issued for our West Georgia counties. I anticipate Alabama to do the same. So right now you're under a winter weather advisory across East Alabama through tomorrow morning. You are under a hard freeze warning for tomorrow night, and West Georgia is under a wind chilled advisory for tomorrow night. Those are the advisories and that we have out there at the moment. Thank you, Kathy Pike. We're going to take this to the top of the hour, so we got about 6 more minutes to go. And I will be back in here tomorrow morning with your prime time forecast. Now, understand if something drastic were to change or we really were to start having some issues across East Alabama and West Georgia, I'll come back on live as soon as I know that is happening. Don't anticipate it, though. Before we get out of here, let me spend a few minutes with you showing you what's going on the radar. And I want to take you in a little closer to, here we go, East Alabama, because we have some light echoes showing up on radar right there in Clay County, there from Cooley Crossroads up to Shiloh and back over toward Lake Wedowee. Odds are that's not making it to the ground. Understand that the column is not very moist right now, but as the precipitation starts to fall, it will moisten things up, and eventually it will make it to the ground, and that will also help bring the temperature down because we could get some evaporational cooling going on right here, which would lower those temperatures pretty quick. And then the same thing down here in Chambers County from about Dadeville back over to Lafayette, back up around Frog Eye. We're showing some precipitation. It would be rain right now because temperatures, I mean, look, it's 50 degrees in Alexander City. We're nowhere near freezing right now. 43 over in LaGrange with some light showers showing up there as well. Again, I'm not sure that's making it to the ground. So it's 50 in Alexander City and it's 34 in Birmingham. Big, huge difference right there between Birmingham and Alexander City, and that's only a short ride up 280. I mean, so you literally could get in your car in Alexander City and drive to Birmingham, and like I said, you could watch that thermometer ticking down just about every mile or so to get you up to Birmingham. So y'all don't fact check my math right there because I know it's not right. I'm exaggerating a little bit, but still. Big difference between Alexander City and Birmingham, and all of that is moving to the southeast this evening. It's all moving in that direction. All right, folks, we're about to wrap things up. Again, I want to thank you all for joining us this evening to talk about what may or may not happen. I wish I could tell you exactly what was going to happen in your front yard, but, folks, it's just not possible. And anybody that tells you that they know for a fact that it's not going to do this or it is going to do this is pulling your leg. Because there's no science to this in the southeastern United States with this type setup. Now, if we had this big, huge spiraling low down in the Gulf of Mexico with cold air already in place, then we could be pretty confident then in giving you a snow forecast. But this type of setup, there's not a tremendous amount of moisture to work with anyway. And it's a race between the moisture getting gone and the cold air sliding up under that moisture. And who knows if that's going to happen? I mean, if it works perfectly in your front yard, then you're going to get some freezing rain and some sleet. I don't think you see snow in East Alabama and West Georgia. Let me make that perfectly clear. I don't want to see the first comment tomorrow morning, well, Dr. Don said it was going to snow and it didn't do anything. I'm telling you, we're not talking about, I mean, could you see a flake or two? Yes. But we're not talking about an accumulating snow event for East Alabama and West Georgia. We're talking a light glazing, possibly, of ice that could cause some spotty problems out there on the roadways, especially on bridges and overpasses. We'll check it for you early tomorrow morning. We'll have the primetime forecast up here by 7 a.m. tomorrow morning. Y'all be safe out there. If you got to travel any distance at all tomorrow morning, get up plenty early so that you can check and make sure the road conditions are okay out there. Don't take any unnecessary risk. And if the good Lord's willing, the creek don't rise, I'll see you back in here first thing tomorrow morning on Dr. Don's Weather. You've been watching